What's up, guys? Today on Travel Worley Podcast, I'm just going to be talking with my partner, Jeff Bartholomew. He just got back from an amazing trip to Italy. He was in Tuscany and some parts of northern Italy. Um, Most of the trip was to get himself ready and see some venues, some accommodations, some restaurants, and play a golf course that we're setting up for our trip next year um, during the Ryder Cup 2023 at Marco Simone. So this is kind of based around that. We're going to talk a little bit about the trip and how it pertains to the trip we're planning for next year. So I hope you guys enjoy. Welcome, everybody, to another edition to the Travel Rolly podcast. Today, I'm going to be questioning my partner, Jeff Bartholomew. Just got back on a wonderful trip to Italy. I saw a bunch of pictures, but we're going to dive into some of the experiences he had, and we'll relate it to our Italy trip that we're doing next year to Marco Simone for the Ryder Cup. So, Jeff, thanks for being on the podcast. Obviously, you're doing the podcast, but this one's directly centered to you and your trip. So, if you would tell us a little bit about your Italy trip.
Yeah, thanks, Hayden. And I apologize, my hat's crooked. I was struggling there to get it straight. So, I was in Italy for 11 nights, and the idea was to vet properties and golf courses and the whole experience of being in Italy next year for our Ryder Cup trip, which is a couples golf trip that'll be next September. And so I took Tina along with me. We had a fabulous time. We spent, as I said, 11 nights there. It was split between basically 6 nights in northern Italy around Lake Garda, and then 4 nights down in Tuscany and 1 night in Milan before we flew out on Sunday. And so I got to hang out for 2 days with our partner over there, Alberto Genovese, and Alberto and his wife are wonderful hosts. And I can't wait to get back over there. The golf courses are extremely good, and it was an amazing trip.
If I'm not mistaken, Alberto was the one who helped you plan this trip, correct?
Yeah, helped us plan this trip. He's
No, I'm talking about the one you just took.
Yeah, oh, that's true.
With Tina. So did he tell me what all he did for you?
Okay, so Alberto owns a company called Italy for Golf, and his whole goal is to drive tourism for golf to Italy because he feels so strongly about the experiences people have.
Mm-hmm.
And the number one thing that I came away from on this trip, and that he tried to impress upon me, is that when you go to Italy, particularly as a couple on a golf trip, golf is really just a portion of what you'll be doing. There are so many wonderful experiences. We'll talk more about those, but he planned every detail. I mean, it was fantastic. He picked, from our transportation to the hotels to the winery, the sommelier that we had at the winery, the actual wineries themselves, the towns we should visit. His level of detail was amazing. He even rented for us a vintage car, a 1959 Alfa Romeo Giulietta Spider convertible that Tina and I drove around Lake Garda one day, which was a lifetime, kind of a bucket list experience, if you will, just amazing. And completely surprised by that. And so he and I have spent a lot of time on this trip. You've been involved as well. And the trip for the Ryder Cup is going to be spectacular. And I can't say enough good things about traveling in Italy. It was just amazing.
Awesome. So we've touched on a couple highlights of your trip. The Alfa Romeo car, obviously, I saw that picture, and you're driving on a coast, right? How was the handle on that car?
Yeah, it was amazing, right? I mean, you can't believe how many people stopped and stared at the car or stopped and asked me about the car, because it's a 63-year-old car. And I never saw another one on the road.
Yeah.
Right. And
You
this
told
company,
everybody it was yours, right?
well, it's funny. We ran into a guy from Birmingham, England, and he came over and he goes, "What a beautiful car!" And he said, "Is that yours?" And I said, "Yeah." And I corrected him, right? No, it's not mine. But
I see his
he
reaction.
came over to take pictures, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was fantastic. But you asked about some other highlights. I think, for me, Hayden, Italy's such an amazing place, right? So if you start with the food, I mean, the food was phenomenal, right? I mean, everything. In the mornings, we would get, hot cappuccinos, a croissant, or we'd go to a full-on breakfast. Lunches were typically kind of out away from town, so we'd go someplace for wine and for maybe a protein kind of based lunch, maybe salad with a protein on the side. Dinners, at least for me, a lot of times I had pasta. Plenty of dessert, panna cotta, tiramisu, creme brulee. The food was amazing. But the thing that stuck out, I think, the most was that I think, particularly for people that haven't been there before, the experience of walking in a new town where every time you turn the corner, it's a photograph opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
It was amazing. I mean, I didn't take that many pictures. Tina took thousands, I'm sure. I was too enthralled with the beauty of what I was looking at. It's like,
Yeah.
I mean, I felt that I'd never take my phone down from taking pictures. It was so beautiful.
I had close to the same experience. We were in Georgetown, Colorado for my sister's wedding. And when you're in the mountains, it's every corner you could take a picture.
Yeah.
But I couldn't imagine being in Italy. Obviously, we saw some of the pictures that you sent over, and it looked
Well,
amazing.
you and I haven't had the opportunity to talk.
Yeah.
I just got back Sunday, so 3 days ago. But yeah, the food was excellent.
Did you have any bad experiences with food?
I didn't. I'm trying to think if Tina did. No.
Tell us
No,
about some of the places that you stayed then.
Okay. So, what we're trying to build for Italy for 2023 and the Ryder Cup experience trip is a 5-star experience. So we stayed in 5-star properties. So just to give you a sense of where we stayed, on Lake Garda, which is the largest lake in Italy, we were on the southern end in a town called Descanso. It was an amazing town. And I should say Desenzano. And we had a view overlooking the lake. We had a balcony, king size bed, which is a big deal over there. Just an amazing place, a very good restaurant. One of the things that was surprising, dogs are really big over there, right? It's kind of like being in Scotland or England, where on the golf course you see dogs, but over there they bring them into restaurants. They love dogs, so that was really cool to see. And the hotel had a dog in their lobby every morning. I'm the same dog. I may have been the owner's dog. So from there, we went down to Tuscany, just outside San Gimignano, and we stayed. It's a walled city, fantastic place, great restaurants, amazingly beautiful city. We stayed a couple of kilometers outside of there at the Villa San Paulo Resort, and again, we had a large balcony. It overlooked the hills of Tuscany. It was spectacular, and these were 5-star resorts, great restaurants, great amenities, and the same thing you would expect when we get to Italy next year for the Ryder Cup.
Yeah. When we're planning this trip, I haven't looked into the hotels that he's planned for the trip. Are they really, really similar to the ones you stayed in that area?
Actually, they're going to be a little bit better, to be honest with you.
Okay.
So where we're staying next year, we're going to be in 3 locations, and Tina and I checked out a couple of them. So we went to Siena, which is an amazing city with a beautiful Duomo Cathedral in the center of town. And Siena is where they have the Il Palio, which is this horse race in the middle of the town square, which is a crazy event. So we'll be there shortly after that next September, but we'll be staying there. It's a beautiful town. We'll be there for the first 2 nights. We'll be 4 nights in Florence. We're staying in a former palace on the Arno River, right in the center of Florence, right near with a view of the Ponte Vecchio Bridge. And then we'll have 2 nights in Rome, at a 5-star hotel there as well. So the accommodations are going to be absolutely top shelf.
Yeah, we got 2 days in Rome, one to explore, one for the Ryder Cup golf experience, right? So that will be very exciting.
Yeah, we're getting tickets for the Friday event, the opening day of the Ryder Cup. We're excited about that. But I think the other thing that we haven't talked about yet are the golf courses. And one of the courses I played over there is behind me. This is Franciacorta Golf Club. It's not too far from Lake Garda. Franciacorta is an area where they make this sparkling wine called Franciacorta. It's spectacular. It's similar to champagne. And I played here with Tina and Alberto and his wife Ilaria, and it was a fantastic venue. As you can see, there was lots of water on it, and it was designed by an English architect, so it had a very English feel to it. And but it's a beautiful course. So while we're there, the one thing I want to impress is they're going to be a lot more about the experiences, and less on golf than what we would typically do on a trip to Scotland or Ireland. So we've got 3 wonderful courses lined up. One is called La Bagnaia, and La Bagnaia is not too far from Siena. It's a wonderful golf course, highly rated, beautiful property. The next day we'll be playing at Castelfalfi, which is another great Italian golf course. And then a couple days after that, we'll be at Ugolino Golf Course in Tuscany. And so we'll get to play 3 rounds of great golf, and we'll get to go to the Ryder Cup. So there'll be 4 days of golf and 4 days of exploring, which seems to be an appropriate amount of time, so that for those people that have spouses that aren't golfing, we've got plenty of activities for them, and they won't be golf widows or widowers, if you will, while their significant others are off playing golf.
Yeah, and tell us about the situation with carts and walking on those courses. Is it more walking? Are there carts available?
Yeah, it's we're going to recommend that people take carts. Carts are available at all those courses. And the reason I say that is a couple of the courses are rather hilly, and I rode a golf cart. Well, as you know, I prefer walking, but at Franciacorta Golf Club, we rode a golf cart, and as I looked around the course, I'd say it was 50-50 people walking versus riding, but they've got plenty of golf carts. So
since we're gonna have couples here, does Tina prefer walking or riding if she's gonna join you on the golf course?
Well, I mean, she rode, but I mean, she walked 90% of the time.
Okay, gotcha.
You know, like as we were teeing off, she would walk ahead, and you know, she got a different view of the golf course. But
and if the spouses obviously want to join, I'm sure that would be an option to walk these courses or ride with them. just for the views and experience?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. But we'll have what we'll have for the non-golfers are day trips and activities throughout the day. So, um, depending upon where we're at and the day and the golf course, for spouses that do want to play or excuse me, that don't want to play, we can have museum trips set up or
Hmm.
a tour of Siena set up or um, a cooking. Well, we're going to have a cooking class one day for those non-golfers. So an Italian cooking class is going to be fantastic. I may not play that day. I may decide to go to the cooking class myself, but we'll see how that goes.
You're just avoiding the golf game. It's okay.
Well, I'll tell you what, Hayden. I I, I honestly feel this way. The golf is going to be fun, right? And it's going to be a lot of fun. But
We're gonna be ready to
it's going to be
get
all
everything
the
else.
other things that we've got planned.
Yeah.
And I'll run through some of that. We've got a winery tour in Tuscany, actually in Chianti, and Tina and I did tours of two wineries in that region, and they were actually we did three, and two of the three were spectacular. So we've got two wineries set up that are just amazing, great quality wines, amazing experiences. And we went to another winery in Montepulciano, which was staggeringly good. Most amazing experience I've had at a winery. Their cellar is over 500 years old, and it's buried 75 meters below ground. It was amazing, and so we've got wineries, including a sommelier with us to help us with the tastings. We've got a cooking class, as I mentioned. We've got a tour of the Vatican. We've got a tour of the Uffizi Museum in Florence, where the statue of David is. There'll be side trips for shopping. That was another thing that was very surprising. We found that um, they're known for leather goods, shoes, coats, purses, things like that, were extremely well made and very affordable. So, Tina and I both bought a pair of shoes. Um, she bought a leather purse. She bought a leather jacket. Um, I bought this beautiful sweater I'm wearing.
Nice.
It was great. All of that. So, yeah.
Awesome. So obviously this trip was a lot of getting ready for and preparing our guests for next year. Tell us about some of the surprises that you're going to incorporate into the trip for next year.
Yeah.
Stuff to be prepared for.
Well, I'll tell you what, I think what people are going to come away with is this feeling of wow, that every day is going to be a wow experience, right? Like whether we're playing golf, whether we're going to a cooking class, the Tuscan Hills are so beautiful, it's breathtaking. I mean, it literally is amazing. You can't believe that you're there. And, we'll be going into walled cities, cities that are from medieval times where they literally built walls around them to protect themselves from warring factions.
Yeah.
But some of the surprises will be beyond just the wow factor. The golf courses were carefully chosen. The wineries have been vetted. The museums have been time tested. I've been to them, and the cities are amazing. So, it's going to be hard to pull yourself away from the activities to play golf. I can tell you that it's just going to be an amazing experience for everyone. And we haven't even talked about the Ryder Cup, but the Ryder Cup is going to be very exciting next year. It's in Italy for the first time. It's going to be at Marco Simoni Golf Club just outside of Rome.
They just played a tournament at Marco Simoni, DP World Tour.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah,
And
so I watched a little bit of that.
was Bob McIntyre from Scotland the winner of that one?
I didn't see who won. I believe Rory was second, though.
Yeah.
If he played.
Yeah, I watched a little bit of it as well. And Yeah, I mean it's a gorgeous golf course.
Yeah.
It's just outside of Rome.
Hmm.
So we'll be staying in Rome and being transported out there each day. So, but that, I went to the Ryder Cup at Valhalla in Louisville. It's probably been 15, I guess that's probably 14 or 15 years ago. And that was a fantastic experience. But to be there on foreign soil with the European fans and the ole,
Yeah.
ole,
Yeah.
ole.
Little outnumbered, I'd
Yeah, but
assume.
it's going to be just an amazing experience. The Italian people um, are very warm. I found them to be generous, and we, you know,
Are there any Italian golfers that have a chance to be on the team? I can't think of any off the top of my head.
well, they had a player that recently won in the last couple of weeks. I believe his name's Guido Migliozzi. He
That could
played
be
well.
that could be a captain's choice just because they're playing in Italy.
Yeah,
I mean, if he's on the cusp, I don't know, just being in your hometown, having your fans, hometown advantage. So,
yeah.
or home country
And
advantage, I should say.
Francesco Molinari's been playing well. It'd be great to see him make the team. His brother Eduardo, who won the U.S. Amateur probably, I'm going to say 20 years ago now, um, hasn't been playing as well. But it'd be great to see the two of them back on a Ryder Cup team.
Well, our U.S. team's going to look pretty similar to the President's Cup, I would assume. There's just so many top guys that I don't see dwindling away. Um, but you're going to have John Rahm and Rory in that couldn't play in the President's Cup. Victor
Matt
Hovland couldn't play.
Fitzpatrick,
Fitzpatrick.
Shane Lowry, he won again recently.
Well, yeah. So it's going to be very, very different than the President's Cup that y'all just watched.
Yeah, it's going to be. I'm sure it's
Very
going to be
exciting.
extremely competitive, and it's going to be. Um, I mean, it's in Rome, right? Like,
Yeah.
one day you'll be touring the Colosseum. The next in the Vatican. The next day you'll be at a golf course watching amazing, amazing golf. So
Yeah, and if you haven't looked up what the President's Cup and Ryder Cup are, you need to look up the format. It's a lot different than normal golf tournament. A normal golf tournament is you're playing by yourself. You got 4 rounds to go the lowest, make a cut. The President's and Ryder Cup brings in the team factor. Um, you're playing doubles, 2v2 some days. You're playing 4 balls, and each hole is electric. And your country, you're representing your country. It's just the feel of it. So if you haven't seen anything about them, look them up on YouTube, some of the highlights. If you watch some highlights from this recent President's Cup, you're going to see people making 30, 40 footers to win the hole and just exploding with the crowd.
yeah,
That's what it's going to be like in Rome. So,
yeah. I think the other thing, Hayden, for the first 2 days, there are only going to be 8 matches out on the course at any given time, right? So they may be spread out over 10 holes. So you're going to have huge crowds, right? Concentrated on a smaller number of holes. They're not spread out over 18 like in a normal golf tournament.
watching the best players in the world play against each other. So
Right. And then on Sunday, we won't be there that day, but what you would see then is 12 guys out on the course. There'll be all 12 playing against one another, 12 guys from each team, or all 12 guys from each team playing one another. And so you might have 12 guys, or excuse me, 12 or 14 holes in, if there's some distance between some of them. And some of the matches end early. And so it's just going to be a fantastic experience. I mean, I can't wait.
yeah, so we've talked a little bit about food. We've talked a little bit about accommodations, what we're going to be doing. Besides those 3 things, what can our customers expect when, thinking about going on this trip? And what can they learn, from us right now?
Yeah. Well, the one thing that stands out for me is, you're going to a different culture. right? So it's not America. Everything is different, right? And you're like one of the things that we talked about on the final day on Saturday that we were there. We flew out on Sunday, but on Saturday, we had some friends and we wanted to go to Milan for the day. So we stopped in their little community and they gave us some. This was really funny. They gave us 3 blocks of Parmesan cheese, and they take Parmesan cheese over there very seriously, right? One is aged 24 months, one is aged 30 months, one is aged 36 months. So, like the 24-month is cheese that you would scrape onto pasta. The 30-month and the 36 are ones that you would just eat with a glass of wine, right? And so we stopped to get that, and we said, "Hey, we don't have a lot of time. We're going to go to Milan." And they said, "Hey, it's unlikely you can get in there, right? You have to have a special pass for your car to get into the city because they're trying to stop congestion and pollution and all that." So they say you have to stop. You have to park outside of town and take in a metro, which is their train system, or a bus. And so we decided to have lunch with them. We ended up spending the entire day with them in Parma, which obviously is where Parmesan cheese is from. And we had the most amazing experience. So the thing that comes into play in my mind is serendipity. The idea that great things happen when you least expect it. And that's what happened with us. We had an amazing day with these people, touring their hometown and enjoying the sights and sounds and smells. I mean, just to give you a sense, we had lunch in this amazing outdoor market, and or I shouldn't say market, outdoor restaurant. Fantastic. We stopped for coffee at another cafe outdoors. Watching the people watching is amazing. We went in their cathedral or Duomo. We went through their piazzas. We went by their university. And every town in Italy, or every decent sized town, has got a similar type of experience. And the food is very regional, more so than it is here in the U.S. So I love Tuscan cooking. We fell in love with a new pasta called pici, and it's like a thick, kind of softly shaped spaghetti noodle. That was fantastic. But the other thing I think, aside from serendipity, is are the wines. They're known for their wines, and when you think about it, they're very regionally based. And just as an example, in Chianti, Sangiovese grapes are what goes into Chianti, and so depending upon the elevation of the hill that it's on, it influences the taste of the grapes and therefore the taste of the wine. And it's not just subtle, it can be very pronounced. And the same is true with olive oil. So we fell in love with a lot of regional wines. Particularly, we really liked, beyond the favorites, like Chianti Classico or Brunello or Amarone. We fell in love with Chardonnays and Pinot Noirs and Luganas and other wines that were just amazing.
So basically, you're saying expect the unexpected.
Expect the unexpected.
Because
I'm raising my hand so you can edit this. The train is going by, and I can't mute that.
That's fine. I'll come back in.
Okay.
I'm gonna put my hand up for like a hot second so I can see it. All right. So every day you're there, something crazy can happen that you're not expecting. Obviously, we started this question with, what do you expect when you go? Expect something crazy to happen. Each day you had a new surprise of something that you loved, something that you ate, that you loved the experience of something new. So
Yeah, one of the things that stands out too, Hayden, that I found interesting, we were talking to Ilaria and Alberto about, and we noticed that nobody drinks mixed drinks over there, right? And you're like, so we asked Ilaria, have you ever had a margarita? She said, no, I've never had one. Right? She drinks wine, and another drink that they drink over there, which is based on their wines and or proseccos, are these spritzes, like an Aperol spritz or a limoncello spritz or a I'm trying to remember the name of the red one that's very bitter. But anyway, they drink spritzes a lot. And so, I would tell people to get ready to taste amazing wines, amazing foods. And it's just going to be an amazing experience.
awesome. So obviously this whole podcast, your trip was part for something else and part for getting ready for us to send some customers to Italy next year. How can people learn more about the trip if they're thinking, hey, I just want to see what it looks like? What would be the best way to go about that?
Yeah, great setup question. What you can do if you're interested in learning more about the trip is to go to our website, and in the upper left-hand corner, you'll see group trips. Click on Italy, and you'll see the daily highlights for every day of that trip. And then if you go down a little bit further, you can click on a link to a brochure. You can click on another form to contact us to get for us to answer any questions or to pay a deposit so that you can jump in. One of the things that we're doing this month, the whole month of October, for our friends and family members who want to go, and anyone else who wants to jump in, we've got a discounted price, 5% off the cost. So the price of the trip this month is $7,075 a person, and it goes to $7,450 beginning November the 1st. So go to the website and check it out. It's an amazing itinerary, and the brochure has tremendous photography.
Yeah, and in a week or two, we're hoping to get to talk to Alberto and do a podcast with him, really explaining the places we're staying, some of the restaurants that we're going to go to, really dive into the trip so you can get more details, and really watch that one, because then you're not going to have a choice but to go. So I'm excited to hear exactly some of the stuff that we're going to be able to get to do. But that's it for us today. Do you have any last things running through your head that you want to say before we end?
First of all, this is a trip that you don't want to miss. It's going to be fantastic. We're putting our heart and souls into this trip to make it the best it can be, to give our guests and their spouses the absolute best of Italy, and it's going to be fantastic. There's no other way to look at it. And Hayden, I appreciate you spending some time with me today to talk to me about the trip that we just came back from, and the exciting trip that we'll be going on in about a year's time, next September.
Awesome. And anybody and everybody, send us a email, give us a call. It's all on the website, royallinksgolftours.com, and you can see the form and everything on there. Thank you guys for joining in, and hopefully y'all get to catch us next time as well. Thank you guys for tuning in. Like we said, if you want some more information, it's all on the website, royallinksgolftours.com. There's going to be specialty tours. Click Italy. It'll give you a itinerary, and there's a link to the brochure as well with pictures of the courses, the areas that we're going to visit, some of the wineries as well. And just shoot us a question if you have any questions. Our email and contact information is all on the website as well, royallinksgolftours.com. Thank you so much, and see you next week.